All right, where I left things off, the cable management was fairly atrocious. Um, my memory card was full, so I had a bunch of time, so couldn't do any more recording. So I cleaned all this up. So this is a lot cleaner. That's what the back looks like. It's not the prettiest thing, but the side panel is going to go on here without any problem. So at this point, the only other thing to do is to bring my monitor up onto the desk and plug it all in and cross my fingers. So let's do it. All right, here's the moment of truth. Power bar is on, monitor power is on. Well, there's power. See what happens. Oh, that looks good. I haven't wiped this SSD yet, so I wonder if Windows is just going to boot right off of it. Okay, that totally makes sense. Everything on the system is different, so I'm going to get my keyboard. Likely, it's asking itself what the heck is going on. Okay, let's get ourselves into the BIOS. All right, my back fan is not running for some reason, so we will address that in a moment. So it took a moment there for the temperature to go down because it's like 40 degrees or something, which is definitely was definitely too much. RAM, it's not overclocked with XMP yet. So this is good at least. We know what's going on. I'm going to shut this off, figure out why this fan isn't working. I might have it plugged into the wrong header, or I might actually have accidentally plugged in the LED strip into the fan header. I'll power this down and then flip it around and see if that happens. But fans are working, which is good. GPU fan is spinning, both sides, pushing air. Just need to get this fan figured out, and then I'm going to install Windows. So let's do that. All right, so I had some issues with the fans. For some reason, this fan was not starting properly, so I figured that out. It was actually just sitting on the heatsink a little bit. It was too close to it. Not really sure what the issue was, but it was stopping this from moving. And then I was having issue with this fan for some reason. The fan header that I plugged this into was, I think it was system fan header number 1 over here on the motherboard or something. But for some reason, when I changed the fan setting from high to low, it was actually turning the fan off. That's no good because this is a huge 180 millimeter fan. It's an air penetrator fan by Silverstone. This thing pushes a lot of air, high volume fan. So I needed to have that high setting. So I figured that out, and we're going to turn this on and get back into BIOS, check out some settings, and install Windows. Delete to get into BIOS. All right, so Gigabyte BIOS is completely new to me. I'm used to seeing Asus's. Let's go to boot. Boot option priorities. Can we change this? There we go. Let's do that. Try to boot into this key and install Windows. Hopefully this is going to boot off of USB. That's what we want. Yes, yes, yes. Next. Install. I don't have internet. Yeah, Microsoft is always going to do these things to try to get you to connect to the net so they can, skirt all their other things into it, into the install. A lot of the settings aren't going to matter because we're going to be using the debloat script to kick all that stuff off the installation. Usually I install Windows LTSC and then run the debloat script, but I didn't want to install the last LTSC because I'm going to be sitting forever on security updates and whatnot. Came out in 2019, so we're about a month away from the new LTSC build. So at that point, I'm probably going to install that or take the leap and install Windows 11. At this point, we're not connected to the internet. I'm not sure if I can fix my display resolution because it's pretty wackadoodle right now. I have Windows 10 installed. The next steps would be installing my optical drive and my hot swappable SSD caddy. Beyond that, I'm also going to probably put the drive cage back in, which is going to hold a couple of SSDs in the bottom, as well as my 3.5-inch hard drive, spinning platter hard drive, old school. I've updated Windows, gotten everything activated, installed some apps, but I still have to get the drive bay in here. I'm going to reinstall the hard drive into this caddy here, install it back in here, as well as my NVMe SSD, the second one. The first one has Windows installed. The second one actually has to go in behind this, so I'm just going to take this out really quickly and install that. And I have a couple other SSDs that need to go in here, and then I'm pretty much done. The previous SSD was on this little adapter plate, so I'm just going to remove it. So that's installed, so I'm going to put the GPU back in. Pretty quick and painless installation there. And again, the only reason I didn't want to install that from the get-go is it's highly unlikely that I would accidentally wipe that drive, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. So I disconnect all my drives and just leave the OS boot drive in, install Windows, and then go from there, and then reinstall everything that I need. I got the old hard drive out. That's going to go in here. And you're supposed to be able to mount SSDs underneath this. This actually sits underneath this inside the case. But that's what this is for all the SSDs. So I have a few of them, and they're going to pop in these little hot swap caddies. So you hit a button, it opens up, you pull it out. Pretty neat. I'm actually going to install them. Let's see. On the back here, the SATA ports got power. So yeah, these two are going to power everything, and then we have the SATA ports. So I think I'm going to go to just use one and fill this entire side here. So we're going to put this over here, and close that. Let's give this a go and install this. So there's one. So that door has to be open for it to go in. There we go. So you just unscrew these screws on the back. like that. There's only 2 screws, one on each side. This plastic piece comes off. Put the drive in. And of course, your data and power connectors are in the back. Put your screws back in. There we go. To make sure these are a little bit more secure, I might actually put more screws in the back, but for now, I think this will do. Let's hold it so it doesn't fall out. There's that. Just a piece of metal. For those of you that are unfamiliar with this process, you just slide this in. Make sure it's right side up, of course. Slides right into the bay. And I actually need to adjust this. This tab is not far enough out to touch this side, so I need to bend this with the pliers. Unfortunately, when it came in, it was a little bit off, which I was surprised at. But say it be. It's an imperfect world in which we live. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I believe that these are the screws that I'm supposed to use. These are pretty low profile screws. All right, so that is done. I have the second SSD is installed. I now have the caddy bay installed, which is really awesome. I just have to connect power to this, and I just need to connect power to this and the data cables to the motherboard, and then get this guy back inside, and then yeah, hook everything up, and then we're done.